So back in the day, I used to work for FedEx. I worked there as a manager, and then I just got tired of the hustle and bustle. I decided to start a business. At one point, I started a janitorial business. Later on, I started a landscape business, and I can remember having one client in the landscape business when I first. I mean, this was a long time ago. Um, this guy was really nice. He was a black gentleman, a Christian gentleman, nice guy. The pay was pretty good, and I can recall doing certain projects for him. My brother and I, at the time, my brother worked with me at the time, and we were doing some project work for him. And I can remember I took liberty because of things that he had said he wanted. I took liberty in going the extra mile, patting myself on the back. But this was going to cost him a little bit more, not much more, but a little bit more. Now, I remember him. I was eager to see his reaction because, I mean, this thing just looked phenomenal. It was a bomb, all this kind of stuff. I did some landscape design, install, all this kind of stuff, right? And so I'm thinking, hey, man, this guy is going to love this. It didn't really cost him much. He had no problems doling out the money before. And then I remember his reaction. He came and he looked at it, and, he thought it looked nice. But and then his response was, "Hey man, let me share this with you." This was an older guy speaking to a younger buck at the time, still wet behind the ears, and he said, don't spend other people's money. Don't spend other people's money. This is something that I probably would have gone with down the line, but not right now because it's not what I budgeted for. So don't spend other people's money. Remember that. Never spend other people's money. Now, this guy's a liberal Democrat. But when it came to his money, he made sure that he shared that lesson with me. And I never forgot it. I never forgot it. I was upset with myself that I did that. Now, speaking of spending other people's money, the Biden administration is pretending as if they are forgiving student loan debt, and they're doing nothing of the sort. What they're doing is transferring wealth from the upper echelon of society to the working class, to the working poor, if you will. And it's wrong. It's morally wrong. And we need to talk about it, and we need to recognize it for what it is. I want to play a couple audio clips for you. The first one I want to play goes back to 2020. This was a man who paid off student loans, and he confronts Senator Elizabeth Warren at the time over her plan to help those who weren't responsible. So here's what the here's the audio clip. Audio clip number 10, por favor, Sean.
I just want to ask one question. My daughter's getting out of school. I saved all my money. She doesn't have any student loans. Am I going to get my money back? Of course not. So you're going to pay for people who didn't save any money, and those of us that did the right thing get screwed.
No, it's not even like that's screwed.
Of course we did. My buddy had fun, bought a car, went on vacations. I saved my money. He made more than I did. But I worked a double shift, worked extra. My daughter's worksheet is 10. So you're laughing. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. We did the right thing, and we get screwed.
I appreciate it.
That's all right.
All right, go right ahead.
Yeah, the sentiment is right. And the left doesn't know how to handle it, but they don't care to handle it. These people live in a bubble. And when the left gets in power, the left does what the left does, and the left screws you. The left screws the middleman. Never believe that the Democrat Party is a party of the little man. That is not true. That has never been the case. That has never been the case. But it's especially not the case now. It is especially not the case. I want to play more audio for you because this goes on. This is Senator Elizabeth Warren again talking about how canceling student loan debt is good for our economy and those who already paid off their debt. Oh, and by the way, before I go on, did you hear what that man said? He did the right thing. You did the right thing. You saved, you scrimped. Some of you decided not to go to school. Hey, I can't afford to go to school. This is my lot. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a trade. I'm going to bust my butt off. I'm going to pay my debt off. I'm going to go get a car. I'm going to make my payments. I'm going to pay on my mortgage. But you know what? College isn't in my college isn't for me. College isn't going to happen for me. Either I can't afford it or I'm not going to take out the debt to go. This guy says this is blatantly unfair. My neighbor makes more than me. He splurges. He does all this stuff. I worked a double shift. I scrimp, I save, and you say screw you? Well, that's what the Democrat Party says all the time. Screw you. That's exactly what they say. That's what they're saying right now. Guys, make sure you call your congressmen, your senators. You got to let them know. Listen, if you went to college, hey, more power to you. I'm not mad at you if you went to college. All right, I'm not one of these people that say you shouldn't go to college, at least completely. I do believe there's a lot of people that shouldn't go to college, probably at least 70 to 80% of you that have no business going to college, frankly. But I do believe some people belong in college. Hopefully you pick up a good one that isn't brainwashing you and all of this left-wing nonsense. But it isn't right. It is wrong for people to sit here and have to fight, save, and scrimp to put food on the table. I'm going to give you some numbers that I shared earlier. Fighting to put food on the table, fight to pay their car note, fight to pay for gas, fight to pay their mortgage. And the Democrat Party comes around and says, you know what? I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to add a little bit more to your debt load because they're not forgiving anything. They're not forgiving anything. Remember this. The government doesn't have anything except that which they take from you. The government doesn't produce money except if they were to print it out, and that puts us in a scenario where we have an inflation problem like we see today. These people are a bunch of liars. And you should call your congressmen, you should call your senators and say this, we are not having this. If you're worried about inflation as it stands right now, these people are printing money like it's going out of style. No one's getting forgiven. Even those that are getting their debt load forgiven right now, it's going to translate into a weaker dollar, lesser spending power over their lifetime. This is basic economics, folks. This is basic economics. They don't learn this in college anymore, apparently, unless you major in it, I guess. But this is absolutely insane. We should not stand for it. You should not stand for it. You should call your congressman. You should call your senator and said, you know what? You just transferred money from the working class to the upper echelon of society. Tell me how, forget fair. Tell me how that's morally right. That is ethically, that is immoral. That is immoral. You claim to be a party for the little people, you Democrats, you little punks. You claim to be a party for the little people, and you just screwed the little people again. You screwed us with the Inflation Reduction Act, spending $700 billion when we're already in inflation. Our dollar is going to be freaking worthless. You just spent another $300 billion on Ukraine. We don't even know where the money is going. And then you come in today like you've done us a favor, and you spend another at least $300 billion paying off student loans and transferring money from the poor to the freaking upper echelon of society. If you vote Democrat, you're crazy.